Here we are. The big moment of truth. Wow. Increíble. Buenazo. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Let's do this.
Try keep up, girls.
Told you, Izzy. Sometimes you just gotta think bigger.
It sure is good to be back.
God responded with his own book. New phone, who dis?
Sidney Powell, you might remember her from her mugshot, where she looks like she just realized the kid from The Sixth Sense saw her. Oh, shoot. I'm dead, people.
Massive influence of communist money through Venezuela, Cuba, and likely China in the interference with our elections here in the United States. The Dominion voting systems, the Smartmatic technology software, and the software that goes in other computerized voting systems here as well, not just Dominion, were created in Venezuela at the direction of Hugo Chavez to make sure he never lost an election.
Do you think when Trump was watching that, he said, oh, it takes my lawyer a full minute to get a cap off his water? Are you seeing this? It's taking him a full minute.
There's no black America. There's no white America. There is just America.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools? Oh, my goodness. All the networks. Wow. All the networks.
It's never good when you turn on the TV and your lawyer is making the oh God, why gesture. If the jury says guilty, I'll just throw my hands up in the air. Maybe they'll reconsider. Oh, God, please.
I want to talk about the Great Awakening. It's coming.
If the jury says guilty, I'll just throw my hands up in the air. Maybe they'll reconsider. Oh, God, please give me a water bottle that opens easy. Why have you forsaken me with these tricky bottle caps?
It's been organized and conducted with the help of Silicon Valley people, the big tech companies, the social media companies, and even the media companies. And I'm going to release the Kraken.
She did release the Kraken, but unfortunately, the Kraken was also indicted.
No MAGA, QAnon, Jim Jordan, Donald Trump. What's this new guy's name? Whatever the fuck. It's all the same.
I'd be surprised if Sidney Powell was saying she had a literal Kraken in her house. I actually would love to see a sitcom about Sidney Powell and a Kraken living together like The Odd Couple or Perfect Strangers. They could call it Kraken Up.
Sidney Powell, who was one of Donald Trump's fiercest defenders, going back to spinning conspiracy theories after the 2020 election, she's now pleaded guilty to 6 charges related to election subversion.
As part of this plea deal, she has agreed that she will testify in any future trials, which raises the possibility that she could testify against Trump in the future.
So in exchange, Sidney Powell agreeing to testify in all future hearings and also hand over documents.
These are notes from the meeting I had at the White House on January 6th with the president, Rudy Giuliani, the Kraken, 2 Pegasuses, 2 Pegasi. I don't want to sound like a crazy person.
Because let's make a deal. I got a feeling a whole bunch of deals were made yesterday.
It is what a carnival of idiots. It's unbelievable.
Pretty sure Carnival of Idiots was the original title of Fox and Friends.
They are dangerous. And they think there's going to be a revolution.
And the ghost of Hugo Chavez. We conspired to steal the election and swore an oath of loyalty by wearing matching leopard print sweaters.
But Republicans provided the key votes. They're in the majority. They can provide enough votes, obviously, to put a Republican speaker in
the
place.
Democrats provided 96% of the votes. 208 Democrats voted to remove the Republican Speaker of the House. 8 Republicans voted to remove the Republican Speaker of the House.
It's some interesting verbal gymnastics. I will give you that. But I want to talk about the future here.
What do you mean gymnastics? I'm just talking about the facts. 208 Democrats voted. There were the vast majority of the vote to take Kevin McCarthy out of the speakership.
Well, I'm talking about how it works.
Watching this interview was like watching a dementia test. Like, what time is it? Well, the clock is round and the arrow's pointing at the numbers. Okay, yeah, but what time is it? That depends on what number the arrow is pointing at. Yeah, but what time is it now? Brown, at this point, we're just going around in circles like the arrows on that clock thingy.
I'm not sure what I'm missing here with you, because 208 Democrats voted with 8 Republicans to take the largest Republican fundraiser out of the speakership. This was a pretty calculated decision by the Democrats. I get it. It was 8 Republicans.
Here's why, sir, because it was a Republican who filed the motion to vacate.
It was a Republican that had very, very personal differences with Kevin McCarthy.
All right, so Jordan lost 22 Republicans.
Just powered down like a Roomba that ran out of batteries.
Of course, if they ever read the Constitution like they claim they love it so much, they might actually read, it's illegal to do what they did.
Props to Breonna Keeler for tough questioning here, but it shouldn't be just her. This is how Republicans should be interviewed on
all the networks.
That doesn't really matter. It's about ideology. It's about the cult. It's a religion now, and that's the reality.
Jefferson clearly did not mean that metaphorical wall was to keep religion from influencing issues of civil government. To the contrary, it was meant to keep the federal government from impeding the religious practice of citizens. The founders wanted to protect the church from an encroaching state, not the other way around.
You can read all about it in Jefferson's famous essay, "Yeah, I didn't mean that."
Republicans have put their names behind someone who has been called the most important architect of the Electoral College objections. He's spearheaded. That's fair. That's fair. We know how you feel. Yeah. You've made that clear.
One big way Johnson wants to slip a little church tongue in your state hole, taking rights away from gay people. When the Supreme Court struck down anti-sodomy laws on privacy grounds, Johnson wrote, "By closing those bedroom doors, they have opened a Pandora's box." Now, not to nitpick, Mike, but if there's one thing we know about gay men, they're not that interested in Pandora's box.
Pitching a screenplay at a Malibu beach house after snorting a mountain of blow.
Yes or no, did you speak with President Trump on January 6th?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke with the president last week. I speak with the president all the time. I spoke with him on January 6th. I mean, I talk with President Trump all the time. I'm actually kind of amazed sometimes that people keep asking this. But of course, I talk with the president all the time. I talked with him, like I said, I talked with him last week.
On January 6th, did you speak with him before, during, or after the Capitol was attacked?
I'd have to go. I spoke with him that day after. I think after. I don't know if I spoke with him in the morning or not. I just don't know. I'd have to go back and. I mean, I don't know that when those conversations happened.
By the way, congrats to that reporter for remaining completely still and just letting Jordan spin out. That's how you do it. Jordan was talking so fast, the only way you could slow him down is if one of his fellow Republicans knocked him over the head like this.
You know, this reminds me of the Roaring 20s. Man, things were good. Everybody's partying, you know, drinking, sometimes illegally, sometimes not. But it was fun. People dancing. Not really noticing what was going on behind the curtain.
The ARK Encounter, a life-size Noah's Ark museum. Don't forget to visit the gift shop where you can pick up those adorable shakers filled with Lot's actual wife. Children can learn that dinosaurs were passengers on the Ark. Yes, many early humans had dinosaurs as pets.
History of our country, there's never been a situation like this, and there's nothing in the Constitution that covers it because the Founding Fathers, as forward-thinking as they were, never imagined such a large group of elected officials being so unbelievably dumb.
And the Lord spake to Hezekiah, "Have thou a yabba-dabba-doo time, a dabba-doo time, we'll have a gay old..." Wait, not that part.
The fundamental problem here is that the GOP is a fractured coalition with no discernible ideological core, except that most of them want to dismantle American democracy. And on top of that, the job of Speaker absolutely sucks. In order to want it, you'd have to be a...
Absurd.
Dumbass.
Didn't vote to decertify the election in 2020, which of course made Trump mad. So the MAGA nuts started calling him a George Soros plant. Trump called him a rhino. He said supporting him would be a tragic mistake. Same thing he said about Eric. So...
Because all throughout the 20s, there was another war raging, and that was the war against democracy.
And earlier today, Mike Pence officially ended his presidential campaign. He made the decision after he consulted with God, and God said, "Dude, you're embarrassing both of us."
Because fascism was taking over. Spain, Italy, Germany, they were falling like dominoes.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of the Waffle House was in court again today, and oh man, is he in trouble. I'm telling you right now, Donald Trump is going to jail, okay?
But with respect to what's going on now, it would have been so easy for me to stop this travesty from happening. He understood me, and he understood that I didn't play games. This would not have happened. Someday I'll tell you exactly what we talked about. But we talked about it. And he did have an affinity, there's no question about it, for Ukraine. I said, never let it happen. You better not let it happen.
Lawyer Jenna Ellis pleaded guilty to felony charges of aiding and abetting false statement. And Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, testified against him in the fraud trial in New York today. Right now, half of Trump's lawyers are trying to keep him out of prison. The other half are trying to keep themselves out of prison.
You know, just like the people say, you can't move the embassy to Jerusalem. That would start World War III. Done. You know, you can't get Middle East peace deals done. Done. You can't have a conversation with North Korea. Done. Trump's the one guy that can maybe do it. So, you know, I'm a little torn. You know, if it's not going to be Trump, I know that Jim Jordan wants to end the war. I know that he's fighting other things.
Yeah.
Hell, the communists made a deal with the Nazis. So now it was communism and Nazis is the same thing. Certainly in our mind. Some people's minds still.
About woke. We all know what woke means. Being woke means never having to say you're sorry.
Woke means never letting anyone say they're sorry.
Woke is racist.
Big woke means equity, diversification, gender, and racial disparity.
Where all they do is talk about slavery.
Wokeism is about murdering fun.
You know what woke means? It means you're a loser.
The woke is the new religion of the left.
The new hip woke is to not like the Jews.
What does it mean to be woke?
Paint. It's taken 6 weeks to get a sample. It's terrible. We used to get it in 2 weeks.
What do you attribute a lot of this to?
Woke.
Southern District came out with a scathing statement about him. So he's a liar, trying to get a better deal for himself, but it's not going to work.
He's a liar. He lied for you. He was your lawyer who mortgaged his own house to pay off the porn star you asked to spank your fat pink ass with a Forbes magazine.
It's a little crisp. There's a whiff of pumpkin spice in the air. It is spooky season in America when pale, ghostly figures of the damned roam the streets, crying out in agony of their cursed fate. Speaking of which, piping hot mashed potatoes.
Let me tell you, this mama bear has a whole lot of fight left in her. And I'm really tired of watching our politicians retreat. They have surrendered far too many hills. We're on the final hill right now. And I'm not surrendering this hill. I am not going to retreat. I'm going to stand on top of this hill with every single one of you. And I know you're by my side as I formally announce my candidacy for the United States Senate.
And bowl of corn at a pharmacy. Jim, can we zoom in on that customer? That is the most thrilled anyone's ever been to see Mike Pence.
Traveling across the country over the past 6 months, I came here to say it's become clear to me. This is not my time.
He's right. Mike Pence's time is 1692. His place, Salem. His job, man who shoves woman into river to see if she's a witch.
Former president and current courtroom sketch model Donald Trump testified.
But you're in a situation where no one seems to notice. Because it's the roaring 20s.
Game 7 tomorrow night. Let's go, Billy.
Awake, not
woke. I mean, awake, not woke, would be more along the lines of knowing our history.
Testified on the stand for the first time in over 10 years. And it's fun that nobody is 100% sure which trial this sketch is from.
being awake, and because woke is, oh, I know all the bad things, and you have to feel some type of way about it, and yada yada yada.
Yeah,
well,
empathy in those
guess
things.
what? Yeah, I'm not wearing that.
You don't need to care about other people.
Different people vote, and they sort of are locked into that vote no matter how bad a guy is. If a man's grossly incompetent, he can't speak, he can't put two sentences together, he can't find his way off a stage. Let's see, there's a... I got there. I could jump off this one. I could actually do it. He could.
It turns out it was from a civil fraud trial where Michael Cohen testified against Donald Trump while Trump was in the courtroom. And I believe we have video.
Care about other people because you can be awake and you can care about other people, but you can still have a backbone about your convictions. Does that make sense?
No.
We're all gonna sit here in our speakeasies, watching our horse races, playing our little games, and not noticing that fascism is on the rise again.
We like to talk about gender and feminism, and we like to talk about liberal values and democracy. And
That's just Brooklyn shit.
well, maybe the Brooklyn shit kind of learned it from all over the world.
Appropriating, that's also Brooklyn.
President Trump works for God, and God is all about America. And God is the one that's going to save America, but actually, he's using President Trump as one of his tools. So that's why we support President Trump, because he works for God.
Yeah, well, you know their slogan, when you're here, your family is looking for you. They're worried.
The Great Awakening, they say, is coming. But they also say, stop woke.
What is the phrase here? Awake, not woke.
That doesn't mean that we want to silence people. That means that we want to be respectful to everybody. This is a universal respect.
Right, you're not. Republican Party is not trying to silence people.
No.
We're not saying don't say gay.
MAGA Mike Johnson has also been called homophobic for supporting anti-LGBTQ legislation and saying homosexuality is bizarre and deviant, which are two fantastic gay clubs on the West Side, by the way.
It's bad to be woke, but they're about to awaken. I love that shit. Both have no meaning. It's just a bullshit phrase. But awake, woke, wake up, they have a nice ring to them.
I don't know about Mike Pence. He should endorse me. He should endorse me. You know why? Because I had a great, successful presidency, and he was the vice president. He should endorse me.
And I like him so much, I would like to see him put his full efforts into defeating that.
One problem. You're asking for the endorsement of someone you almost got killed. That's like if Jigsaw's victims left a Yelp review, very challenging escape room, 2 thumbs up if I still had thumbs.
And I hope anybody that's watching this video wakes the fuck up. Because this is happening. The war on woke is so they can have the Great Awakening. Because they need everybody to go the fuck back to sleep.
Well, after weeks of struggling to elect a new Speaker of the House, Republicans gave up and just generated one with AI.
Louisiana Congressman Mike Johnson, seen here showing the size of a fish he recently baptized.
The way Mike Johnson is a real person. He's supposed to be a conservative Republican, yet he looks like every MSNBC host combined.
Someone asked me today in the media, they said, it's curious, people are curious, what does Mike Johnson think about any issue under the sun? I said, well, go pick up a Bible off your shelf and read it. That's my worldview. That's what I believe.
Dumbass.
No, if that's great. If the Bible is his worldview on any issue, I don't know why progressives are nervous. He's clearly going to ask the rich to sell all their possessions and give the money to the poor. And that's really...
I feel like the way Mike Johnson got elected is that after weeks of voting, Republicans got bored and they all wrote in the same fake name. And then they were like, wait, that's a real guy?
The ARK encounter is one way to bring people to this recognition of the truth that, you know, what we read in the Bible are actual historical events.
Michael Cohen testified that Donald Trump's 3 oldest children were involved in putting together financial statements for his company. Ivanka wrote the summaries, Don Jr. put together the numbers, and Eric licked the envelopes.
From Universal Pictures and the mind of Mike Johnson comes the greatest adventure ever told. Welcome to Jurassic ARK.
Being biblically faithful is not easy for a guy from Louisiana because now he has to give up shrimp, crab, oysters, and barbecued pork.
The story of a man who built a 300-cubit boat, filled it with delicious animals, and then added meat-eating dinosaurs. Starring Noah. Noah's Kids.
And I'm sure he's going to miss his wife when she has to be cast out of town during the time of her blood, only to be allowed to return when she brings 2 turtle doves to the tabernacle for the priest to sacrifice. You know, issues.
Noah's Kids. And Jeff Goldblum as Noah's sexy veterinarian.
Because just like in the Roaring 20s, by the end of the decade, people were tired. And fascism took them easy. I'm Zachariah, Lone Star Liberal. Wake the fuck up. Y'all take it easy.
And when they have people saying the wrong things, everything they say is being digested by these people because they're vicious and they're smart.
This is the state of the Republican Party. The faraway frontrunner for the presidential nomination is under 4 indictments, and the House GOP can't even pick a speaker. I don't know if they have a plan for what's next, but if they want to come up with one, they better get cracking.
Summer sets sail on an inescapable floating buffet. Jurassic ARK. Rated G for Jesus.